Hi everyone, thank you for joining me live, and for whoever is watching as well on the replay, thank you for watching, thank you for joining me. If it's the first time that we're meeting, my name is Isabel Martins from healthandnaturallife.com, and I work with energy clearing, healing, connection, empathy, animal communication, any and all things related to consciousness, to understanding our energetic nature, to understanding the nature of the reality around us, how we interact, how we create, how we perceive and experience it. So that's what I love to explore, to dive deep into and to share on this channel as well. Good morning, David. Thank you for joining me live. And on this particular video, I'm going to talk about something that has a lot of charge. It actually has so much charge that I'm feeling my entire body just kind of buzzing, and I've had to clear a lot just to actually be able to clarify the things that I wanted to share here as it relates to money. Money is one of the most loaded subjects in our society, so there's a lot there. So I have a few notes of some things that I actually want to cover, because this could be a 2-hour long type of broadcast, but I want to keep it more succinct, for my sake and for yours, and to cover a few topics and points here that I think might be useful for us in terms of making this this paradigm shift, writing and creating this paradigm shift that we are experiencing in our society when it comes to money. So the paradigm shift that we are headed towards, and we are creating, it's not being imposed on us, we are the ones creating it. It's a change that will imply a change in perception of money, in the way that we exchange money, and the role of money in our lives. So there's a lot more than this, I'm pretty sure, but these are the three that I'll be kind of organizing what I want to share in this video regarding money. So let's start then from the beginning, our perception of money. And by the way, this is going to be regardless of whatever form the money, the currency that we use takes. So in the past, it has been gold, it has been silver, it has been bills, coins, credit cards. Now we're seeing cryptocurrency. It really doesn't matter. What I'm going to share here is prior to the outside form of money, whatever form money takes, because regardless of whatever form it takes, if we don't change the energy behind that form, we're going to continue to have the exact same system, the exact same fears, inequalities, projections that we have now on money in the future as we've had in the past and we have now. So it's not the form, it's not that cryptocurrency will save the world, or that money in the form that it is, it's the devil or it's the savior. It really has nothing to do with outside form. It's the energy, it's the paradigm, it's the projections, it's the associations that we have on the background. Those are the ones that need to shift. When those shift, and we can only shift them within ourselves, that starts creating a shift, rewriting the energy of money, the energy of how we exchange and what we exchange with money, and the role, again, the role that it has and that will have in our lives and in our society. So regardless of form, everything that I'm going to speak here, it's prior to that. So let's start with perception then. There's an interesting, not speaking for myself, of course, there's an interesting type of duality in the way that we perceive money for people that are very familiar with reality as being an energy creation, energy construct, consciousness. There seems to be a disconnect somehow in between. Yes, everything around me is energy, is frequency, everything responds to the laws of frequency, of resonance. But when it comes to money, it seems that it's kind of segregated, put in a box all by itself, and it doesn't really respond to the laws of frequency or resonance. It just responds to the human laws, the ones that we have been conditioned to see, to use, to perceive as it relates to money. So instead of us understanding money as energy, as current, as even in its physical form, as photons of electrons neutrons, protons, or if you want to go even deeper, just waves of potential, of possibility. It's the same stuff that everything else is made of. We are made of photons, biophotons, electrons, protons. Again, if you want to go deeper, just waves of probability flashing in and out of existence. Everything around us is the same. Our emotions, our thoughts, made of the same type of material, just different layers of density. And money in our current times, it's not even as dense as a physical object anymore. We're very used to perceiving it as a flow of energy, as a flow, as an exchange. But it still feels that there is that disconnect, that we perceive ourselves and everything around us perhaps as energy, as responding to frequency, as responding to the law of attraction. But money has its own rules and it's segregated. It's something else. So that's not the case. We have to keep reminding ourselves that everything in existence is pretty much composed of waves of energy, electromagnetic energy of a certain frequency, carrying a certain information and with a certain amplitude. Everything. So everything responds to the exact same laws of physics, of resonance, of creation. Everything, including money and our own creation of reality and our own creation of everything around us. Let's just say this as well, because I want then to introduce money as a currency and current. Not introduce, perhaps remind you. The way that we create our reality, we've talked about this in previous videos, reality is an internal experience for us. So everything that you see it within yourself, you perceive it within yourself. Everything you hear, your senses are translating frequency, translating waves, translating vibration into audible sound. Your physical proprioception system, your skin, your receptors pretty much, and all your senses are just translating the energy of frequencies, different vibrations around us, and they're translating it to different modes of perception, vision, touch, sight, vision, sounds, taste, smell, everything. What we perceive through our senses, we perceive internally. So our outside, so to speak, reality is actually an internal perception and construction that we make of whatever electromagnetic spectrum and frequencies and signatures we light up from the infinite field of potentials around us. So when we are talking about experiencing love, for instance, we're not experiencing something outside. We are tuning in internally to a frequency, almost like a radio, that we are a radio, tuning into a frequency that we have associated with love. And internally, we feel the sensations of love. When we're talking about money, it's the same thing. We are, and it's interesting to associate money and love right at the beginning, but it is all a matter of association. So when we're talking about money, we're talking about the same type of experience. There is something that we have associated as an address, so to speak, a frequency, a signature of energies that we have associated with money. And when we tune in our internal radio to those associations, to those frequencies, that's when we experience money. And that's how we experience money, because money has a different feel for pretty much any one of us. So money, this leads me to what I wanted to share, that money in itself is current, is energy. It's a flow of frequency, a flow of information, a flow of energy, like electricity, a flow of energy with a certain type of charge. And that charge is not inherent to the energy of money. It's something that we, each one of us, have projected onto money. Money has been for a while, at least in our recent times, our best friend in terms of healing, and or at least giving us the potential to heal our deepest fears and insecurities, because it has been the object of projection, projection, projection. So our fears, our insecurities, our needs for safety, our needs for freedom, our needs for anything that we feel that we don't have, we project towards money, and we assume that when we have enough money, we'll feel safe. When we have enough money, we'll feel free. When we have enough money, we'll feel good enough, successful, whatever it means for us. So money in itself is just a human, or maybe not human, but it's a human construct. So it's a concept, something that was created to facilitate an exchange. And in itself, it's a tool as any other tool. For instance, if you have spoons at home, you have probably a toothbrush. Those are tools created for a certain purpose. It's just that money in itself, because it has so many areas that we have associated with it, it has a lot more charge. So going back, money in itself is just a tool and an energy that now we use for means of exchange. And actually, when I tuned in sometime last year to the original intention of the energy of money, because everything in creation has an original positive intention. It can be distorted beyond recognition at times, but everything starts from a pure intention to create something that expands reality, that expands the experience of creation, of consciousness. And when I tuned, and this was my experience, so you might agree or disagree, but when I tuned into the energy of money, what it felt in its original intention was that it really was purely an energy of exchange, of valuing something that we would give money in exchange for something that we valued in return. And it was an energy as well of support. So if we want, this is more recently, if we want to support someone in what they're doing, if we appreciate what someone is doing and we want to support them, it's an energy that carries as well appreciation, and it's an energy of love. It can be an energy of nourishment and love when you give it in that sense that, okay, I want to share support, I want to provide this for you, love and support you in this very practical way. So the energy of money actually felt like a very feminine energy in its original intention, an energy of nourishment, an energy of valuing, an energy of exchange, an energy of support. It has been used in our society, of course, in very distorted ways, and has been used as a means of control, as a means of manipulation. But underneath all of those layers, the core essence and the core energy of money is still the same. It's an energy, first and foremost, of exchange, to make life easy, to make life easy. And this one bears repeating, to exchange money or a certain type of currency that is easy for us to normalize in exchange for something that we value. At its core, that's what money is, which kind of brings me to the subject of exchange of money. So money is a carrier of energy. We've heard that money is an amplifier. I was thinking about this, and it is an amplifier, but not so much in the sense that, or what I'm going to share here is not so much in the sense that it's usually used, as in when you're a good person, having a lot of money will amplify the fact that you're a good person, or if you have ill intentions, having a lot of money will just make those ill intentions even bigger. That's a possibility, of course, but I would just trace that back a little bit for what I'm going to share here, is that money in itself is a neutral carrier of whatever energy we put on it, whatever we associate with it. We can use money, like I shared, in its original intention, and we can share or exchange money for something with the energy of just valuing it. So let's imagine I have a book that I really want. I exchange money for it, and the energy that I put into that exchange is an energy of excitement, is an energy of appreciation for getting that book that I so want into my life. I am sending with my money the energy of appreciation, of valuing. This is an energy that I am feeling as I am exchanging money. It's almost as if we have a little tray here. Let's imagine that this is money. Money is a tray. And I'm going to give this tray to someone in exchange for something that I want back. This is an empty tray. I am going to fill this tray with whatever emotion I have associated with this exchange. And when I actually feel love, appreciation, when I exchange money in a sense of wanting to give support, of wanting to share love, I am running that energy of love, of appreciation, of support into this little token tray of money, and I'm flowing it forward towards something that I'll receive in return. This that we're doing every time that we exchange money is what creates that amplification, because when we actually receive, when we give money from this energy of love, of valuing, of appreciation, we are imbuing the energy of money, not only on the money that we give, but on our system. And we are making the association in our system, in our mind, in our bodies. Most importantly, we are making the association between the energy of money and the energy of love, the energy of appreciation, something that's coherent, that makes us feel good, that expands our energy, that expands our expression of our consciousness, that expands our life. When we have that association, that positive association, it's very, very natural for us to bring more money into our lives, because we will, every time that we interact with it, that we exchange it, that we give it for something, we will feel that sense of coherence, that sense of love, that sense of appreciation, of valuing, of expansion in our consciousness. So coherent energies, when we imbue our transactions, happy money, like Ken Honda would say, when we imbue our transactions, our interactions with money, with that pure original sense of exchange, of valuing, of expression, of appreciation, of love, of support, we are making that association energetically, physically, and we are giving money to the other person or the other entity or company, money that has a different frequency signature than, I would say, most of the money that's in circulation. It's a money that's healed, that's cleared, that starts creating a different pattern where it is received. And this is very healing for everything. And it's very expensive as well for us to be able to flow more the energy of money in our lives. Because if we, as most of us were trained, speaking from my own experience and my culture, of course, if we exchange money from an incoherent type of energy, so an energy that's contracting in nature, like fear, like resentment, like an obligation, like I have to pay for this, but I really don't want to, that type of an energy is very contracting in nature, and it's something that we energetically, consciousness, emotionally, physiologically do not want to feel. We don't want to deal with those things. That's not the way that we want to live our life. So we will either avoid the subject of money altogether, or we'll have to really dull our energy and contract and tie ourselves up in knots in order to interact and receive and give money. So this is in the giving type of dynamic. Then we have the receiving as well. So this is an interesting one, because again, it's all about associations. If you have an association between money and receiving love, receiving support, receiving appreciation, receiving a valuing for whatever it is that you're sharing, that you're giving, you will receive money very freely, very openly, very joyfully, and it will bring those energies into your life because that's your association, and you'll start expanding your energy even more. I can tell you in my experience, and this is something that I'm still clearing and will continue to clear deeper and deeper layers. Most of the times when I've received money in my life through especially through my business, because it's a much more direct interaction, I have felt a sort of a guarding against it. So it's almost like pulling away, like a not sure if this is safe, because of my associations with money. And the associations that I have with money are not that original, I'm afraid to say. They are the associations of the culture of our times, and they are the associations of obligation. So if I receive money, if it's given to me with a sense of resentment, of not wanting to give it to me, like I've seen from get-go growing up that people pay for things resentful, and the least that they can pay, get away with, the better. So there's a sort of anger in letting go of money, resentment. There's an energy of really resentment that's as best it gets, and obligation, that okay, I'm giving you this, so now you better give me that, or do whatever it is that I want you to do. So it's a very quid pro quo contractual, but in a very negative and controlling and resentful type of way. If you have this type of association with money, like I have still working on that one, then it's really hard for you to fully open to receive money, because we don't want to receive those types of energies. And it's not so much that we would be forced to receive them from others, it's our association with money and feeling the energy that the person is giving it to us with. We don't want it. We can still heal it if we're conscious, but for the most part, if you're not conscious, our association with money and resentment and obligation, all those things will contract our energy, will close our energy down. And it's an interesting thing, because there are people who have a natural association, or have worked to have that association with money and ease and love and appreciation and flow and all of those things that we talked about before. So it's a very positive and expansive association. So when they give something, whether in a personal business, a direct interaction, or even at work in a job, or whatever other function it might be that requires an exchange of money, if they have that positive association of money with love, with valuing, with appreciation, whatever it is that they give that feels like love, that feels like something they value, that feels like something they appreciate. So a work of love, like many people, healers or light workers, so to speak, of any sort, and pretty much all of us are, when we give work of love and we have money associated with love, we have a match right there. So it becomes really, really easy for us to ask and receive money in exchange for what we're giving, because it's the same type of frequency. We are giving love, appreciation, support, and we are receiving love, appreciation, support back. But if, like, again, light workers, healers, creatives, and of course many other people have the association from money with suffering, with hustle, with obligation, with pain, with resentment even. So when we have that association and we give something that comes from love, that comes from appreciation, that comes from support, these two do not match. So it becomes really, really hard to actually ask for and receive money in exchange for what we're giving, because they are not the same thing. And it's not because of the energy itself of money, it's because of our associations or what we're perceiving in the other person that's giving the money energy to us. And this can be changed. Our associations can, and quite honestly, they have to be changed if we want to heal our relationship with money, and more than that, if we want to heal our relationship with our power, with our power to create and manifest the life that we want. Because again, money is still just a tool. We can start, but because money is a tool and it's such a pervasive tool that we use for so many things, it really benefits us to look at the associations that we have with money and start healing those. So what we can do, again, Ken Honda is coming to mind with Happy Money. One of the simple things that Ken Honda shares, and Happy Money is the title of a book by Ken Honda, a Japanese author, that when we give money in exchange for something, we can start by feeling appreciation, by feeling the valuing of the exchange, by thanking it, saying thank you for the money that we have given to receive something that we value in return. And when we receive money, we can say the same thing, we can say thank you. This healing of associations takes awareness. It takes, of course, it takes its time. It's not a one time and you're done type of thing. It's a reconditioning, because we grew up, we were born into a system, for most of us, that kind of has those negative and incoherent associations with money. So we have to start catching ourselves when we're paying for something, kind of holding it back, resenting it, and just decide, do I actually want to pay for this thing? Some things we feel that we are obligated to pay. At any rate, we are always free to choose how we want to feel regarding the money that we are sending. So if you're paying for taxes, you can still, and that might be the hardest one for you, I don't know, it just came to my mind, you can still feel appreciation for, okay, this is money that I am giving to help support roads, to help support infrastructures. However you want to look at it, there is always something that you can look at to help you feel a more positive association, a more positive emotion that you are running, a currency that you are running through your body. And speaking of currencies, let me also add this. Money is currency, so an energy current, but it's only one current. Everything around us is current, is a flow of energy. And one of the most powerful currencies is love itself. So if you're thinking about manifestation, if you're thinking about creating something in your life, and like me, most of us, you're already thinking of the money that it will need, that you'll need to create it. This is a very roundabout way to go at it. So money is a currency, love is a currency, a current of energy, and love is a very resonant and powerful current. So when you love something, you are in resonance with it, and because it is a very coherent and expansive energy, it's an energy that just almost immediately bonds you, not bonding as in restrain you, but connects you to that thing that you are flowing love towards. And it can be just pure love, it can be love through the form or through the medium of money, it can be love through appreciation, it can be love through praise. Love, the frequency itself of love, connects you to the thing that you want to experience. And when you start flowing that powerful currency of love towards the vision of what you want to create for your life, you are filling it up, you are drawing it in much more powerfully than you would if you were focusing on, now I need to create the money, and still with the paradigm of hustle. Now I need to suffer, now I need to just force myself, push myself to make this much money, and then when I have this much money, then I can exchange for that thing that I want. you will still be running through your system that energy of pain, that energy of suffering, that energy of obligation, that energy of sacrifice. Whenever you exchange that amount, that loaded amount of incoherent energy for the thing that you want, it will freaking never satisfy you. You might have a temporary minute type of, this is nice, and then you'll feel the crash. It will never satisfy you because you are exchanging the energy of hustle, of pain, of obligation for the thing that you were assuming that you would love, that would make you feel very good. It would have if you weren't piling all that energy of hustle, of obligation on top of it. So it's a very roundabout way to go about things, to think about how can we hustle and bustle to make money to exchange for something, versus immediately tuning into, and this is nothing new that I'm sharing here, so just a reminder, perhaps from a different perspective, tune into what you want. Notice what the frequency signatures are that you feel there, the love, the freedom, the ease, the peacefulness, whatever it is. Start tuning those frequencies and creating those, running that energy through you, and you'll be aligning directly with the energy, with the materialization of the reality around you. Probably will involve money as well, but it will not be the funneling that most of us are taught to make of, okay, I want this broad reality, instead of me immediately tuning into this broad reality. No, I'm funneling all of my consciousness through this little hole, through this little funnel of money, and when I stuff and cram enough in there, then I will open to receive this reality, and then it will not be satisfying because this will have a lot of contraction associated with it. So go straight for love, go straight for falling in love, being in love with the reality that you want, and from there then everything starts falling into place in a very, very, very satisfying way. So money, it really is all about associations. And whatever associations we have with money, it's not that okay, I was going to say that they're not enforced on us. Let's just say it like this. We are born into a certain paradigm of money, but money in itself, as again pure energy with a certain frequency, with a certain set of signatures that we project into it, it's just pure energy that responds to the laws of physics, the laws of resonance, as everything else. So we are not at the mercy of the human laws of money. That's what I want to say here. Even if it looks like that, no one can control your resonance. No one can control your thoughts, your associations with money. Only you. And when you tune and tweak your associations to something that's much closer to the truth and much more aligned with your broader knowing and with your own consciousness expansion and the level of coherence of those positive associations, then money or abundance in any and all of its forms just very naturally enters your life, regardless of of the laws or the system around you. It really doesn't matter. There is no one outside that can control your experience of money. It really is an inside job. We are the ones making the associations, choosing them by default for the most part, but we can choose them consciously and start healing the relationship that we have and the interactions that we have around money. And we are the ones enforcing those filters on our own interactions. So no one else can do it for us. Which brings it back to receiving money. If you feel that you have been receiving money, like I shared, from this place of no, changing the associations will start changing that. But if you feel, for instance, even after you change associations, that someone is being resentful in the way that they're paying you or something like that, if you yourself focus on the money that you're receiving with love, with appreciation, blessing, the person or the institution even that you are receiving the money from, that will be almost like an energy clearing for that energy, and the energy of the money will very naturally start to open and come to its natural energy again and be rewritten by your own projection on it when you receive it. So there is a charge every time that we receive money, the charge that the person on the other side is giving with money, that money is carrying from that person, but we can choose to neutralize, heal, clear that energy with love and extending the love forward even to the person that's giving it to us. So this is very healing for us, for the energy of money itself, and of course for our consciousness and expansion of abundance and love in all forms in our lives. Which takes me to the role of money. And this is, again, projection land. We have given money a plethora of roles that do not belong to it. As I shared before, money as an energy in its original intention, at least the way that I tuned into it, it was just energy of exchange, of valuing, of ease in those exchanges. We have a lot of associations with money. So we have given money the role of freedom, freedom giver to us. We have given money the role of creating security or safety in our lives. We have given money the role of creating a feeling of being successful, of being good enough, of having power in our lives. All of these are projections that we have put on money. They're not natural, they're not inherent to the energy of money. These are just our own fears and projections that we are directing towards money. So if we feel that when we have enough money we'll be free, or when we have enough money we'll feel safe, we're really going about it the wrong way, because no matter how much money we have, we will never feel free, we'll never feel safe, we'll never feel good enough, because it's still that sense of freedom, of safety, of being good enough is still associated with a material object outside of us and outside of our perceived control. So if there's always the fear that if something happens to that money, I lose the freedom, I lose the safety, I lose my self-esteem, and we don't have any control on the larger scale of things, of the material and the form that money takes in our society. So when we hinge our own sense of freedom, of safety, of security on an outside, by its very nature, changeable, perishable, if you want to see it that way, material or concept or form, we're just asking for trouble, because it will never give us what we need, and it was never meant to either. Those states that we want to feel, that we project on money, the states, this is from my own experience of course, but these are the underlying states that we project on money: feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling like we have freedom, freedom of time, freedom of choice to do and have what we want, that we are successful, that we are good enough, that we are valued in society. Those things are internal states of being, and those energies, the energy of freedom, the energy of security, the energy of ease, of enoughness, those are energies in themselves. It's like love, they're currents. They are energies that we can flow through our system, we can embody them, and when we do, the more we do, the more we feel them, and the more we free up money from those roles in our lives. So we will be safer, we will feel safer, we will feel freer, we will feel happier, more relaxed, more joyful, more creative, whatever it is for you. because we know that this is something that I can tune into, radio tuner, I can tune into, I can feel, I can resonate through my body, and I can broadcast, and I can see that when I do, I feel, I tune, I embody these energies, they are mirrored in my outside reality, because there's no such a thing as a fixed outside reality. It's always a mirror to whatever it is that we're broadcasting from the inside out. So us tuning into these states directly will heal all of those insecurities that we have around money, and it will free up money to actually just be the original energy that it is. Exchange, ease of exchange, and valuing for something that we want in return. And let's go to the practice, to the embodying these energies then. Let's say freedom. A phrase that's been coming to my mind frequently now. It's freedom is freedom is freedom. Meaning, freedom, no matter the situation that you feel freedom in, is always the same frequency. It doesn't matter if it's freedom of time, if it's freedom of choice, if it's freedom to eat this and not that, if it's freedom to choose this piece of clothing in the morning instead of that one. It's freedom. So when we start noticing, this is very important, notice where you have freedom in your life. You have freedom of choice. In your wardrobe, you might want to choose this or this or this or that. It's all available for you. You have freedom to choose. Just notice that you have that freedom. Notice how that makes you feel. Let's say you're at the grocery store. Have 10 different brands of rice. You can choose from any one of them. You, again, have freedom of choice. Notice that first, that you have that freedom of choice, and notice how that feels in your body. Start noticing the physiological responses that you have in that state. After you notice, I have freedom here, start notice how freedom feels in your body, because you might actually discover something interesting. In some arenas, you might actually find that a certain level of freedom just feels like expansion. It feels like a relaxation in your chest, just feels like your entire face and muscles are relaxed, that you're breathing deeply, that your body is kind of leaning backwards perhaps a little bit as you're receiving those choices. Start noticing your physiology. Start noticing how you're breathing. Start noticing your facial expressions. How tense are your eyes or not tense? How's your mouth? How are you breathing? How are your shoulders? Relaxed, tense, leaning forward, leaning backward? What is your alignment in your body? How are you feeling in your belly? Notice the physiological signature of freedom in those different circumstances. And you might find actually that, for instance, if you have a lot of freedom of choices, so let's say it's 50 brands of rice for you to choose from, you might start feeling overwhelmed. So you might start to feel your shoulders tightening, contracting, you start pulling back. This will tell you that there is a certain amount of freedom of choice that's perfect for you, but beyond that, you really don't feel comfortable. You start to feel overwhelmed. And when we feel overwhelmed regarding something that we think that we want a lot of, so let's say you want to be a millionaire so you can have freedom of choice of whatever it is that you want in the world, this is a microcosm type of experience of how you will react when you have that broader scale version of freedom of choice. So if in the hypothetical example of having 50 brands of rice, you're already feeling overwhelmed, you are conditioning your body and you are giving to yourself the very clear message that, okay, or just tuning into the message. It's not something that you're deliberately doing, but you are perceiving that this amount of freedom of choice will cause you to feel overwhelmed. So we will very naturally refrain from scaling that freedom of choice in other areas, because you know that this type of dissonance and this type of contraction will only be increased as well as the scale of the freedom of choice increases. So when we see something like freedom of choice or freedom of time, let's say you have plenty of free time, you feel bored. That's another one. Start noticing that, because if you want money to have freedom of time to do whatever it is that you want to do, when you have free time right now, you feel bored, you're just reinforcing that message inside of you that you don't really want to have free time, because a lot of free time you'll be bored to death. So it's important for us to notice how we respond to these things that we say we want, and we want them, but we want to clear them before actually scaling them into larger and larger expressions in our life. And we will very naturally keep ourselves contained and contracted in a nice, comfortable sphere, so long as we have these dissonant responses to the things that we say that we want, because we'll keep ourselves in our comfort zone. When we start clearing the energy of those responses, reactions to those things that we say we want, we'll start very naturally opening to larger and larger and larger versions of those same types of energies at their core. So practicing, you can use this embodiment and this awareness to start noticing where in your life you feel that freedom. How do you feel safe? Where do you feel safe? Let's say that, for instance, you have a blanket that if you just close it, wrap it around you, start feeling a sense of safety, start feeling a sense of ease, of relaxation. Notice how that feels in your body. Notice the physiological sensations, notice your posture, notice your expressions, notice your alignment in your body, your head, your neck, your shoulders, your torso. Notice how your belly feels, and start taking mental pictures, so to speak, of that, because that's a state, a feeling of safety. That's a state that then you can copy and trigger in yourself in different times throughout the day, and you start running that energy, that frequency, that embodiment of safety more and more and more, and you start becoming. It's not becoming, so let me say this. You do not want to be free, or you do not want to be safe, you do not want to be secure. You are already free, you are already safe, you are already secure. What you want is to feel freedom, to feel safety, to feel security. So it's a matter of us actually tuning in, seeing how these frequencies, how these states feel for us in our body, and start practicing them, reconditioning our nervous system to become more and more aligned with them, and our radio tuner to just be in freedom FM, to be in security FM, to be in safety FM, and we start running those energies more and more by default. And again, this is how we create our reality. Reality, as we perceive it outside, is just a mirror. It's almost as if you have really a ball of mirrors all around us. We are lighting up whatever it is that we're broadcasting. So it's a matter of resonance. If we're broadcasting security, if we're broadcasting freedom, because we are feeling it, we are tuning into it, we are noticing the sensations, we are embodying those sensations, and we are deliberately creating them within ourselves. That's the signal we're sending. That's what we're lighting up from the circumstances, from the people, from everything around us. And that's how we free ourselves. We heal our relationship with our power, our true power. We heal our relationship with creation, with manifestation, with money. We free up money to just be what it is naturally, the energy, the tool for an easeful exchange of valuing something. And we start just with each interaction that we have with money, we start extending that healing as well into the person that we are exchanging money with, into the company that we are exchanging money with, because we have reclaimed our power back. We are the ones creating our safety, creating our security, creating our freedom. We are feeling it. We are seeing it being reflected back to us. And we are now associating, again, it's all about associations. We are associating the energy of money with the energy of appreciation, of valuing. We are imbuing, filling that little tray, that little token of money that we're giving, we're filling it with the energy of love. We are making money the carrier of our love, the carrier of our valuing, the carrier of our appreciation, the carrier of our sense of wanting to support and love someone. We are healing the energy of money in ourselves, helping heal in the person or the company that we are exchanging it with. And one by one, that's how we start healing the energy, the use, exchange, the role of money overall in our society. And I know that this is a loaded topic because there's a lot of energy and trauma regarding money from even from ancestry. So this has a lot to heal, has a lot for us to dig deep. And I am going to suggest that you look at one page that I have on my website that's regarding chakra vows. So I've opened that to the public. If you want help, by the way, with anything that I've shared, you can check my energy clearing sessions as well. I have it on the description box. But I opened a page again to the public that's related to chakra vows and energy clearing regarding chakra vows. And these are important for us to look through because we have a lot of unconscious decisions that we have made in our lives of never feeling a certain way again, of never interacting, of never creating, of never experiencing something again. That creates a lot of trouble in our interaction with money, in our interaction with our power, with the power of creation. And a lot of these actually have been passed down through the generations and even through other lifetimes. So I wanted to suggest as well, I have the link in the description. Check the chakra vows energy clearing page. The information that's there itself is important, can be very healing because it has the potential to bring something that was running in you unconsciously to consciousness. And then you can start changing, you can start making different choices, you can start healing that previous association and start flowing towards something that's much more empowering. And of course, this is not only related to money, a lot of it is actually related to relationships, and our wounds around money are wounds around people, not around the energy of money, but people. So the more that we can start being aware of these patterns that are running unconsciously, the more you can bring them to the surface, to the conscious awareness, to start naturally shifting them. So I think this is what I wanted to share. We are in for a paradigm shift. We are in the paradigm shift for money, for the way that we see it, we exchange it, its role in our society. But we're not spectators, so to speak. We are creating that change. And if we just say hands off, I'm not even looking at it because of the trauma, because of those past experiences that are so heavy that we have associated with unsafety, with insecurity, with bondage, with obligation, and we have associated them with money. If we don't want to look at these things, they will continue to be created by the people that have different interests. Just put it like that. And we will, by non-contribution, pretty much, we will contribute just by apathy. So we will be riding that wave as well. If we bring back our power to where it belongs, to ourselves, and we start changing the associations, we start noticing what energy am I giving am I putting on money when I'm flowing it out? That's the energy that I'm flowing through my system, that I'm associating with money, that just becomes the template for money in my life. If I heal that, if I heal the receiving part as well, we start creating that healing in our lives, in our relationship with money, and first and foremost in our relationship with our own power, with our own manifestation ability. And then we start shifting the way we exchange money, the role of money in our lives, and we start giving that gift to the people around us and to society as well. We're in for that shift. We are creating that shift. And I hope that this was useful for you in one way. We're about an hour in. So I hope this was useful. Let me know any questions, comments. Would love to hear your perspectives on this. Thank you for joining me live. Thank you, David, for joining me live. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I'll see you on the next video.